Hello, in this video we're going to talk about the slopes of parallel lines. And remember that slope of a line is a number that tells us how inclined or how much inclination a line has. And we've seen this in class. The slope talks to us about the steepness of the line. And here I have two equations. Both equations, you can easily identify that they're written in slope-intercept form. That means they're very easy to graph. Now, I want to graph both of these. I'm going to start with this one, y is equal to 1/2 x plus 3. And since they're in slope-intercept, the intercept would be 3. That means that on the y-axis at 3, that's where my line will crash the y-axis. And we also learned that the slope is 1/2. If the slope is 1/2, that means that I will rise 1 and run 2. So I'm going to go to my intercept. I'm going to rise 1 and run 2. And here is my second point. Remember, we only need 2 points to graph a line. Now we're going to graph this line. And this line will go through both of these points. And remember, we extend the line because in reality, this line will extend infinitely in both directions, okay? And we usually draw an arrowhead at the ends of our lines because that arrowhead is what indicates that this line continues forever. Okay, there's my first line. For my second line, here I have y is equal to 1/2 of x minus 2. Notice again the slope-intercept form. My intercept is at -2. So I go ahead and draw a point at -2 because that's where my slope is. I'm sorry, my y-intercept. And now I look at the slope. The slope is 1/2. So if the slope is 1/2, that means I will rise 1 and I will run 2 from the intercept. So I rise 1 and I run 2, and here's the second point. Okay, now I'm going to draw a line through these 2 points. And remember, we extend them because they will extend infinitely in both directions. Here are my 2 lines, and we also draw arrowheads indicating that this line goes on forever and ever. And there you have your 2 lines. Now, one very important thing about this line is that this line and this one, let's label these. This line I drew at the beginning, this line is y equal to 1/2 of x plus 3. And this one is y is equal to 1/2 of x minus 2. Okay, notice that these lines will never, ever, ever intersect. And from your knowledge in geometry, 2 lines that never intersect are called parallel lines. Okay? Parallel lines are lines that will never intersect. If I continue to draw this line and this one forever, they will never crash together. They will never meet. Therefore, they are parallel. Now, for purposes of algebra, I'm going to give you 2 equations, and I'm going to ask you, are these lines parallel? And you have to tell me if they are or not without drawing a graph, okay? And one way to know, I don't know if you've seen this by now, but notice that both of these lines have the same slope. As long as the equations have the same slope, I can say that these lines are parallel without even having to draw the lines. Okay? I just drew these lines so that you could see that they are parallel, that they will not intersect ever, ever. Okay? So that tells me when the slopes are equal, the lines will be parallel. Okay? So let me give you another example. Here I have 2 additional equations, and I'm going to ask you, are these 2 lines parallel? And how are you going to answer that? Well, you have to look at their slopes. Before we do anything, notice the first equation is written in slope-intercept form. It's written in this form, y equal to mx plus b, where the slope is 3. And this second equation, notice this one is written in point slope form. It's written in this form, y minus y sub 1 is equal to 3 to m times x minus x sub 1. And you can very easily see with point slope that the slope for this line is also 3. So the slope here is 3, the slope here is 3. That means that these lines have the same slope, they have the same inclination, they will never intersect, they are parallel. Okay, I'm going to give you more examples in my next video. I'll see you in the next video.